Hey everyone, I'm Chase at Rocky Mountain ATV, joined with Brent from Alpinestars, here to break down the Tech-Air airbag system from Alpinestars. All right everyone, so today we are here to break down and give you a very in-depth look at the Tech-Air airbag system coming from Alpinestars. This is a very technical system, which is why we have Brent here from Alpinestars to help us out with some of that technical information. But before we dive into it, I just want to give you a brief overview. So if you're not too familiar with this system, it's an airbag system, and in the event of a crash, what it does is actually inflates airbags that are located inside this vest that Daniel here is wearing, and it gives some pretty incredible protection. Now, it's also important to know there's a lot of different riders that can wear this. They actually have two different options. There's a street version and a race version. So whether you're hitting the track on the weekends and you're riding, you got the race version. But if you're just a commuter doing your typical canyon rides on the weekends, you've also got the street option as well. So it's a pretty incredible system. You're making an investment here. You're north of the $1,000 mark, but there's a lot of great features that are built in. So to give you a little background, the concept, Brent, came to life in 2001. 2004, they wanted to see what it looked like to actually be in a crash, so they started putting sensors on riders, logging data. 2009, we saw it go to MotoGP and actually be put outfitted on the riders. And then in 2016, we see it go to the public.
Exactly, yeah. 2016, it was released in Europe, and then a year later, 2017 is when we got it here in the US.
All right, so we know it's an airbag system. We know it offers great protection. This thing inflates in just milliseconds, but people are looking at it thinking, man, you're around $1,000 for the vest. And then also keep in mind, it's very important to know this, that if you're buying, whether it's just the street vest or you're getting the race version, you have to have a compatible jacket. So you can't buy just the street vest and then just put it with any Alpinestars jacket. You have to have a jacket that's built to take the Tech-Air, so make sure when you're picking up your jacket, make sure the two are going to be compatible. But when we talk about the protection side of things, that's what you're investing in here. And one thing that really stood out to me was how much more this vest will protect you just compared to CE Level 1 or Level 2 armor in a jacket.
Exactly, yeah. When it's fully inflated on any area where the airbag is covering, it reduces the amount of impact energy transferred through to the body by 96% compared to CE Level 1 rated limb protection, that being your shoulder, your collarbone and whatnot, and it reduces the impact energy transfer to the body by 78% compared to CE Level 2 rated back protection. So you're literally getting an exponential amount of more protection even compared to your regular jacket that comes standard with that CE 1 or 2 rated armor.
That's pretty incredible how much more energy it can manage when you have that system inflate. Now, real quickly, let's just help the viewers out because there are two versions of this, and probably one of the more commonly asked questions is, well, which one do I want? And it boils down to a couple things. The type of riding that you're going to be doing and also what jacket you're going to be wearing as well. So Brent, you've got the race and you've got the street. Daniel here, he is actually wearing the street vest. And Daniel, just to give you a good size reference here, Daniel's about 6 feet tall, about 185 pounds, 40-inch chest. He is wearing a size medium. So just remember, use the sizing guide. We have our fit guarantee, which means if you buy the vest and your jacket, if they're not happy with the size of the fit, you can send it back a brand new unused condition, and we'll give free shipping both ways on your first exchange just to make sure you get that size that you are looking for. Now, Brent, a pretty common question is people ask, do I need to get a size larger jacket in order to work and fit with the vest?
Typically not, but it depends. Like if you're on the upper end of the spectrum for say a 52, you might have to bump up to a 54, but typically what we've found is that, especially with the leather garments, once you start wearing the system and the jacket starts breaking in, riders will typically say that, oh, you know what, I wish I really had that, I stuck with my original size. But the cool thing about the system is that, it does have to work with a Tech-Air compatible jacket, and because when it deploys, it's about 2 inches thick all the way around, so that the jacket itself has to expand with it. And to accommodate that, the jackets have all sorts of stretch paneling, from accordion stretch paneling coming all the way from the shoulder down through the armpits and the side, all the way down the back, as well as here in the chest as well, with typically HRSF stretch fabric. And so not only does the jacket it's more flexible and gives you a greater range of mobility, but it also is going to fit better, thanks to that.
Sure. All right, so we've talked about the sizing. We've talked about what this does and how much more protection it offers than over just CE rated armor. Tell us how this thing works, how that whole concept came about. And it's an airbag system, but I'm sure a lot of people are saying, well, how does this thing even know or sense that I'm in a crash, and what is it doing?
Sure, yeah. So what you see here is the entire system itself. It's a fully integrated system and it's completely independent of the motorcycle itself, meaning there's no tethers, there's no connections to any GPS signals.
You're not plugging into anything on the bike.
Plugging into anything. There's no external sensors, nothing like that. It's all fully contained in what you see here. And so how does it work? If I'll just have Daniel here turn around for me to face the rear. So there's 4 sensors. There's 3 accelerometers and a gyroscope. And there's an accelerometer here in each shoulder, as well as an accelerometer and a gyroscope here in the back protector, which also houses the ACU, which is the airbag control unit. It's the computer, the brains of the operation. And each sensor senses in 3 dimensions across 3 axes, and it communicates with the computer on a millisecond level, sending 12 data inputs every 2 milliseconds. So where do we get those numbers? 4 sensors times 3 axes of motion communicated every 2 milliseconds. So that's 500 times a second that these sensors are communicating with the computer. And there's a built-in algorithm. It's an algorithm that we've been testing now for almost over 15 years. And we have 2 algorithms. Here we have the street version, and we have a race version as well. And the reason for the 2 different algorithms is because the 2 different crashes are different. Typically a race crash or a high-speed performance crash is a loss of control, resulting in either a high side or a low side. Whereas on the street, typically it's an impact or a collision. So the way in which the sensors and the computer and algorithm understand what's happening is a little bit different.
Okay, and one thing that really stood out to me that I think is incredible is when you talk about how fast this deploys, because crashes, it's like that. I mean, literally like the blink of an eye. And so I was wondering, well, how does this thing inflate fast enough for somebody, if you're sitting at a stop line or a stoplight, someone comes and just hits you from the back. This thing inflates fully in 25 milliseconds. And then you kind of broke it down even more from there, how fast 25 milliseconds is. You said a blink of an eye.
Yeah, the average blink of an eye is about 190 milliseconds. So 25 milliseconds is about 8 times faster than that. It's 1/50th of a second. It's literally instantaneous.
So this thing is inflating before you actually would hit the car or before you hit the ground. It's that fast.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. And then I also noticed too, you've got this CE back protector on the back as well. So you're getting not only the airbag system, but you're also getting this hard shell protector on the back as well.
Right. On its own here, it's already rated as a CE level 2 back protector. And once the vest is deployed, in addition to this back protector, it covers your entire back here. It comes up and over your shoulders, about halfway down your arm to your elbow, or I should say halfway to your elbow, down your collarbone, your whole upper abdomen, and it also wraps around your sides to protect your ribs, your kidneys, and vital organs.
Now, Brent, another common question, question that I have actually is, if you're riding, you come to a screeching halt on your bike at a stop sign, or you're maybe doing an adventure touring ride and you're getting pretty aggressive off-road, is there a chance you could get a false deployment with this?
Well, we've to date, we've done over 1 million miles of various testing, from on-road testing, track testing, and crash lab testing, testing impacts from every angle and speed imaginable. We actually haven't had a single false deployment since 2011, and that was 5 years before the system actually came to market. But to answer your second question with adventure touring and adventure riding, it really depends what kind of adventure touring you're doing. How much adventure riding is in your touring. If it's designed, it can handle your typical ADV type riding. Fire roads, maybe double track. Gravel roads, stuff like that. But if you're going, through
you're not
a
going to
whoop
be
section
jumping
or
around,
jumping,
pounding some whoops, anything like that.
Exactly. That's where you're going to find its limitations.
Okay.
But for the average rider, it'll handle just about any type of
All right, so you don't need to
riding.
worry about false deployments if that's a concern you have. So Brent, next, let's talk about how this airbag system integrates with the jacket. And this is another point that I bring up. You have to have that compatible jacket, and here's why. You've got 2 connections here on the back, and then you've also got your charger. Now, real quick, let's talk about battery life. I think it's really impressive. Full charge, 25 hours of ride time. That's a lot of riding time. Plus, you've got that indicator that's going to tell you if you're getting low. But if you are getting low and you're on a ride, what's cool about this is that it's just a micro USB. So literally, what most phone chargers are, you can just use your phone charger if you want to. So if you're out on a ride, your battery's getting a little bit low, plug it in for an hour, you're going to get, 5 to 6 hours of ride time, correct?
About 4 to 5, yeah.
4 to 5. So you don't have to worry about if you're out on the road and your battery dies. You can just charge it, give it some time, and you can finish out your ride. But now, as far as how this vest or this airbag system is activated, this is very important. Like I just mentioned, you've got 2 plugs here on the back. So Daniel's got his vest on, now he puts the jacket on. So what he's gonna do, he's gonna plug in your first plug, it's gonna be here on the left side. That's gonna be for your LED indicators on the sleeve. The other plug is going to be what's going to help activate the vest. So he's going to plug these two in. He's going to put the jacket on. He's going to zip the jacket up. On the front of the jacket, there's a Velcro flap that has magnets. When he does up those Velcro flaps, that connects the circuit, you could almost say, which then tells the vest, my jacket is on, you can now be active.
Exactly, yeah. As soon as the jacket zipped up, the magnets, once they're together, they'll complete the circuit, telling the system to go ahead and arm itself.
So if you have the jacket on, this is important to know, and if you don't have it zipped up, let's say you plug these in, you think you're good to go, and if you don't have the jacket zipped up in the front, maybe it's a hot day, you unzip it to get some airflow, your vest will not be active if that's the case. So just remember, you got to have it zipped up and have those Velcro flaps touching each other.
Exactly, yeah, and those Velcro flaps are about 3/4 of the way up the zipper.
So you get some airflow.
You get some airflow, but yeah, once they're connected, like we said, that's what arms the system. But if the jacket's not zipped up and you do experience some sort of a crash, the airbag is going to expand outwards, and obviously keeping this jacket zipped up is what's going to help contain everything and keep you protected.
Now the race system integrates a little bit differently with the jacket. Kind of walk us through that.
Sure. So they're very, very similar, obviously, in functionality. But the race system, those magnetic connectors are on the vest itself. Whereas on the street system here, those magnets are on the jacket. So that's the reason for the second plug here.
Okay. So now a couple of things I want to point out that's important. It's a little bit different when you have the street and the race version as far as how they deploy. Daniel here is wearing the street version. You're going to have two canisters, both in the street and the race version. But what you were talking about is that your your street and your crashes out on the track on the racetrack are going to be a little bit different. So in the street version, if you have a crash, when you have this thing set up, it's actually going to deploy both canisters. And the reason that you were explaining that was because street accidents, they happen a little bit different, but every crash would be a little bit different. So explain that to us.
Sure, yeah, like you said, the crashes are a little bit different, typically high sides or low sides on the racetrack, whereas on the street, it's more of an impact or a collision. So the idea behind firing both cylinders, one of which anyhow, is to get that faster deployment and inflation time. But the second being that, because the street system is going to be worn in a more loose-fitting jacket, not as tight as a one-piece race suit, say, for instance, it does have about 1 liter more volume capacity of the airbag itself. So to deploy quicker and inflate the entire vest as quickly as possible, as well as
get that volume
get that
filled.
Additional volume filled, that's the reason for which we deploy both canisters at the same time.
Now on the race vest, that's going to deploy one canister at a time. Because like you were saying, either a low or a high side, a little bit different crash scenario, and since it's tighter fitting, you don't need as much, so that's going to offer the same amount of protection. Now, in a race situation, what I think is cool is you have the vest on, you have a crash that deploys one of the canisters. Well, obviously your bike's probably not going to be in riding condition, but if you want to go out the next weekend, you're still going to have a fully functional airbag system in the race setting because you still have that extra canister.
Correct, yeah. You get 2 deployments, deploying 1 canister at a time in the race algorithm, whereas if you have it in the street though, however, you're deploying both.
Now, you deploy the jacket, either it's in the race or the street system or the configuration. How can these guys get it refilled or get the jacket refurbished and get it sent back to them?
So what you do once you deploy both canisters is you send it back to us at Alpinestars in Torrance, California. And for $299, we'll go ahead and go through the entire vest. We'll replace the airbag, both canisters, and then we'll just go through everything to make sure everything is spick and span and as good as new as the day you bought it. Typically, our turnaround time is no more than a week, but typically over the last 1.5 years or so since we've been doing it, from when we receive it in California, it's about 2 to 3 days for us to turn it around and put it back in your hands depending on shipping.
Awesome. So I think that's cool. You're making a big investment here, like talked about. You're north of $1,000 for the airbag system. Then you have the jacket on top of that. But you're not having to go out and fork over that money each time you have a crash. Hopefully you don't have one at all, but it gives you just some peace of mind knowing your investment's going to be worth the money there. All right, Daniel. So face back to the front for us. Now, one last thing that we want to share with you before we actually get to our live demonstration of Daniel getting this thing blown up while he's wearing it is the modularity. And I think this is really important to know. You got to remember, though, we're going to beat this India, that if you have a race airbag system, you got to have a race jacket. And same goes for the street. After this video, we have a link you can click on it where we show the two vests. We show all the compatible jackets, so it's going to take away the guesswork. But here's where it gets cool. If you buy the race airbag system, let's say you're a weekend warrior at the track, but you also do some commuting in your jacket as well, you can change the algorithm on the race vest to go to the street algorithm. So that way you can still get the same amount of protection that you're going to want, but you don't have to be at the racetrack. Or for the guy like you were saying, who maybe doesn't go to the racetrack at all, but he likes to go for the canyon rides and he wants a sport jacket, he wants a race jacket, so he can buy that race jacket, put the race vest in there, but he can change the algorithm to be the street algorithm to get the protection that he's looking for.
Exactly, yeah. A lot of sport bike riders out there will never, see a track in their lives. But they won't be wearing a street compatible jacket. They'll be wearing something like the Missile back here on their sport bike, on their R6, their ZX6, what have you. But the benefit of having the race system that has both the street and the race algorithm is that they can always keep it in the street algorithm, and like you said, have that added benefit of the full protection of the system.
Now, as far as how you change the algorithm, what's cool, you can do it right from your own home, from your own computer. So you're going to get your jacket, there's going to be a code on the back or a number, you're going to use that, and you just go to their website, Alpinestars.
It's Tech-Air.alpinestars.com. You have your chassis number, you'll be registered in there, and changing the algorithm over will take about 30 seconds max, and that Tech-Air.alpinestars.com, the data portal will have all the information that you could possibly want and need for anything Tech-Air related.
Perfect, so there it is. Now, we've given you all the technical information. We talked about what vest or what system is going to be best for you. But now for my favorite part, what I've been waiting for, we're actually going to put a jacket on Daniel. Brent's going to hook him up to his laptop, and we're going to inflate this thing so you see exactly what happens in the event of a crash. All right, so now we have Daniel here with the jacket on. So we've got the vest connected in the back. We've got the two plugins there. A couple things also I want to point out. You'll notice that when you put the vest in, there's going to be 3 snaps up around the back. That's going to be up towards the top. Very easy to find, so connect those snaps. Also, this does come with a kidney belt on the airbag vest. That's adjustable up or down depending on your torso length. You can remove it as well if you want. Also, you'll notice on that vest earlier you saw you have those bright yellow zips. Those zip into the jacket, not to themselves, but the jacket's going to have the bright yellow zipper on there as well. So very easy to find and match those up. Now once you have it connected, you got those snaps in place. Daniel's ready to just zip this up, and then you're going to see as he zips it up. Now one thing I do want to point out, it's important. So as he zips it up, like we talked about earlier, about 3/4 of the way up, you can see you've got your yellow Velcro there. That's where those magnets live. So when you're zipping this up, you want to make sure that those are overlapping and connected, and then zip the jacket all the way up. Now as soon as Daniel does that, you notice the LED indicator lights on that left sleeve start to light up. Now it's very important to know, when you first put the jacket on and you have everything connected, it's going to go and do a stability check. So you're actually going to see this green light blinking for about 30 seconds. That just means you've put the jacket on. The jacket knows, hey, I'm about to go for a ride. I need to get myself ready. That's what it's doing. After about 30 seconds, it will then go to a solid color. Now, a couple things I do want to point out about the battery indicator. If you're at full battery, it will be solid green. Once you get to 8 hours left on your battery life, it will then turn to yellow. When you get to 2 hours left, it will then turn to red. So that's how you know how much battery time that you have left. All right, there it is. Now, let's show you a live demonstration of what it looks like to have a full deployment with this vest. Whew. That was fast. There you go, Daniel. That thing just fully inflated. I can't believe how fast that was. You can see you've got that 2 inches here in the chest area. Daniel, quarter turn to the right for me. You can see with that shoulder, now you've got all that protection on these shoulders, and I can feel just how hard that is. Daniel, face the back. Oh my goodness, there's the entire back inflated. You can see just how much those stretch panels on that jacket are allowing that vest to inflate. Daniel, face back to the front for me. So there you have it. You just saw a live vest inflate. So it's pretty incredible how fast that was. Now remember, a couple more things. It's going to stay inflated for 5 seconds, and then after that full 5 seconds, it's going to take about 1.5 minutes. It will slowly go down. Now last thing I want to point out is if you do have a crash and you have the vest inflate, it doesn't mean you can't use the jacket. If you have a crash and you're still able to ride even that day, you can continue riding. Just as soon as you're able to, take the Tech-Air vest out, depending if you have the race or the street version, send it back to Alpinestars. Again, they're going to refurbish it, send it back to you, put it back in the jacket, and you're ready to rock and roll. All right, everyone, so that concludes our overview of the Tech-Air airbag system coming from Alpinestars. Brent, thanks for coming in to help us out.
Thanks for having me.
Now remember, you're an investment here, but when you look at this and you look at the amount of safety that you're getting, if you're looking for the next level in safety, whether you're out on the track on race day, commuting through town, or hitting those canyons, well, this is one of the best systems that is out there.
That's right. At $1149.99, you are making an investment, but we like to consider it as cheap insurance because if you ask anybody who's gone down in it before, whether it be an everyday rider or one of the world's fastest racers, they would definitely tell you it's worth every penny.
Now, if you guys have any other questions or comments, you can leave those below. We'll get your questions answered. And to pick up your new system, it's real simple. Just click on the link or head over to RockyMountainATVMC.com. Remember, we have that page that shows you the 2 vests and all the jackets that are compatible with those. Get subscribed to our YouTube channel if you like this product overview and you want to see more just like it. I am Chase here at Rocky Mountain. Thanks for watching.